Greetings again everyone, and recently I had the opportunity to preview a beta copy of a brand new Canon lens, the RF 50mm f1.4 L VCM. Nice, we're finally getting a 50mm f1.4 on the RF system, although its price of £1,800 here in the UK will make it 9 times more expensive than their 50mm f1.8 lens. Ouch. But it will have a few features, especially for video work, so perhaps it'll be especially helpful for videographers too, and apparently it's going to be a very sharp optic. It's also a full frame lens, which is only for Canon mirrorless EOS R system cameras. I'd like to thank Canon UK for loaning me this lens last week for testing, but as I say, it's a beta version, so I can't give it a full review today because they might be tweaking or improving its features or even its optics before the final production version arrives. Today I'm giving you a preview of the lens as well as showing you lots of sample pictures from it, and I'll end by giving you my first impressions of its image quality. Hopefully I'll be able to get a final production sample into my office before long for my standardized tests. Obviously, the first thing to note is that the lens is very slightly bigger than usual for a 50mm f1.4, but it's still a nice little size and not too heavy in your hand. It's essentially the same design as Canon's recent RF 35mm f1.4 lens. The lens is well weather sealed, including a weather sealing gasket around the rear mount. Next, an aperture ring, which turns completely smoothly and which can be locked in or out of automatic mode. Due to the way Canon's mount system currently works, this ring will only work when shooting in video mode and not when shooting stills, except on the new R1 and R5 Mark II cameras, where it works with both. Apparently there may be future firmware upgrades for older Canon cameras to get this working in stills mode too. It's just a quirk of the RF mount system. Obviously you can still control the aperture using your camera. Next, on the lens's body we see a customizable button with an auto manual focus switch and a switch to lock the aperture ring in or out of automatic mode. Then we get quite a broad rubberized manual focus ring which turns very smoothly and works responsively with the focus motor. I did have a sneaky look at this lens's focus breathing and it's fairly well under control optically here, and this footage was taken without any focus breathing compensation in the camera. As for the autofocus system, well, it combines a voice coil motor with a nano USM focus motor to push its heavy focusing groups with harder torque. In use, it works silently, accurately, and basically instantaneously, with no trouble tracking subjects. This is Canon at their very best here, and just as well, considering how much money the lens costs. In front of that focus ring we get one of Canon's customizable control rings with gentle clicks to it. I'm glad that thing is at the end of the lens, out of the way, as it's something I never use myself, but I know that other people do. The front of the lens has a 67mm filter thread, it comes with a plastic lockable lens hood, and the lens does not have its own optical image stabilization. Overall, the lens is built fantastically well here, and electronically it functions perfectly for both stills and video work. How about image quality then? Well, like I say, this was a beta lens, so I can't say much yet, but my sample pictures came out brilliantly sharp in the middle of their images, straight from f1.4 with excellent contrast and no purple fringing to be seen. The image corners seemed just a touch softer, but like I say, this was a beta lens, so I wouldn't read too much into that. It also seemed to be fantastically sharp at close focus distances, even at f1.4, which is also encouraging. I also saw some good looking sun stars from about f11. Its work against bright light seemed very good also, with the lens maintaining excellent contrast pretty much all the time, and I didn't notice any chroma smearing in my night shots at f1.4. So while the lens may be incredibly expensive, still, at least it seems on first impressions like the image quality will be there. Anyway, I hope you find all that information helpful. I'll publish a final review of a production copy of it as soon as I can get my hands on one. Ciao for now, everyone.